Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Yoder, and this is the Josh Yoder Show. Today, my guest is the current Mifflin County Lacrosse coach, Mr. Brett Rogers. How are we doing, Coach?
Very well. Thank you for having me, Josh.
Thank you so much for coming on. We were trying to get it, and we finally got it, huh?
Yeah, it's sometimes tough to hook up.
Yeah, but thank you so much for coming on my show. And how's your summer been?
Pretty good. We're keeping pretty busy, so no complaints there. And yeah, it's been a pretty good summer. No complaints.
Yeah, and pretty soon we're going to go right into the fall season.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. Summer goes quicker, that's for sure, than it used to. That's the truth.
Yes, and now for those of you that may not know, you are the boys lacrosse coach. How many years now has it been since you've taken over the program?
Uh, since I've been the head coach for about 3 years, this will be my third year going in, I believe. I've been in the program about 6 years. Yeah. Yep, this will be about my sixth year starting up here.
That's awesome, and it's crazy to see how far it's come. You know, it was originally a club sport, and now you guys are able to make it into an official mid-pen conference. You know, how's that feel seeing from that going from then to now?
It's a welcomed challenge for sure, just going up the ladder in that regard. And yeah, we played at the over we called it was called Pet Cemetery at some point by some of our opponents, and over at the graveyard field over there towards Mifflin County Middle School. And this is definitely an upgrade these days, and they've given us a few field upgrades since then as well. But this turf field here at Kish Field at Chapman Stadium is definitely the upgrade that we've all been looking forward to. And getting in these other leagues, the challenges are definitely much bigger, but that just gives us a goal. It gives us a little more goal orientation. So we welcome it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember covering in those fields up at the cemetery, and yeah, I could see why some people would think that. I always thought it was interesting that you guys were playing next to a cemetery.
Yeah, it was definitely added some character to some of the games.
Yeah, and but that was definitely fun to actually get to see lacrosse live. I've only ever saw lacrosse on TV, so the fact that there was an actual local team nearby, I always thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a super exciting sport to watch. It's a super exciting game. I mean, it's one of those games I think, especially when you go the first time, you're like, I don't know what I'm watching, but there's no dull moments in lacrosse. It's an exciting sport. It's all the time. They're up and down the field and smashing around in there is pretty often. And like I say, it's very exciting. And I think a lot of first timers are really taken aback by, whoa, this is a lot more physical of a sport than they may have originally thought as well.
Yeah, and that's something that I think, especially when they got away from the club status, I think when they got up to play in the mid pen, I think a lot of them realized like, oh wow, look how much bigger, faster these guys are. So maybe that was also a bit of an intimidation sign.
Yeah, well, we play some. That's the exciting part, and a little difficult at times is the play to such the stretch of talent that we would play, as far as having a local team maybe like Belfont, which again, a good team, but they're an up and coming team like us as well. And then you have State College right up the road, which is they're a top 25 in the state team. And then we travel down towards Dauphin and Cumberland counties. And then you're really in the mid pen has a bunch of just stellar teams. And they've been treating us very nicely despite the beatings they've given us in some of those occasions. And they never hesitate to come over towards the end of a game or at the end of the game and appreciate the guys' efforts throughout the game, despite maybe maybe it being a lopsided engagement.
No, and that's excellent to see. And I've actually seen it a couple of times that I've covered lacrosse for you guys, both boys and girls. And it's nice to see because I think they realize, like, you guys are up and coming. You're trying to build something special, and I think that's really cool to see that they're trying to, show good sportsmanship and like try to help give advice or maybe ideas of how to build a team up.
Yeah, they are very helpful, and they have reached out and they have offered assistances in several opportunities. And that's a good, like I say, they want us, if the better that we get, the better that helps them be, I think. So that helps everybody to keep improving for sure. So they have a great mentality in that way. So we appreciate it.
That's definitely appreciative, and shout out to those teams that have done that for you.
Yes. I'd even shout out Cumberland Valley, their head coach. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was a really positive influence on us after the games and has said a lot of nice stuff about us. And they're a top tier program, so we always appreciate that from those types of programs for sure.
But now let's get you into the sport of lacrosse. Like, I've always liked it because I've seen it on TV. And I just always thought it was amazing. And then what got you into the sport of lacrosse, Coach?
Yeah, I never watched a single game before I started on this adventure, I guess. And it really started with my son, Van Rogers. He came out his freshman year, and he said, I want to try out there doing a clinic in the summer. I think Coach McCarter and Coach Everly at the time were holding a clinic in the summer. And he said, I want to give it a try. And he hasn't looked back, and neither have I, seemingly. That's just kind of, and I've all the time I've had the opportunities to be able to help coach on the teams that he's been on, and just the availability of my time. So, and they were always just looking for people, and we always still are actually looking for, assistants, volunteers, that kind of stuff. So that was when, Coach Everly and Coach McCarter asked, hey, if you're going to be around, you're available, why don't you start helping? And I said, well, despite knowing anything about this, I'm more than welcome to do it, more than happy to do it. And it didn't take long for me to get very attracted to the sport. I really enjoy it, and it's super fun to play, practice. I mean, all the aspects of it. Watching it is just so exciting as well. And yeah, my son got me into it, and I haven't been able to get out of it since.
Yeah, no, one of the things I liked about the sport is that obviously there's some physicality involved, but there's also a lot of intelligence and way people had to run, move, set up formations and way to attack. And the way they can just sling the ball with the stick is just amazing to me. What was your favorite thing that kind of hooked you into this sport?
Well, I do think it's the competitiveness and the grit that it takes to play this game. I mean, to do it well, anybody can play the game. The guys that do it well have a little bit of grit. I like a lot of our wrestlers that are on our team. We have several football players on the team, and a couple basketball players or people have come from basketball. And it is a very intelligent sport in that you really, and we're learning that and teaching that as we go here. And I'm learning that myself as far as the formations and the different offenses and defenses to set up. I liken it a lot to basketball in the sense that it has a very similar format as far as offense and defensive systems go. So we do borrow from basketball a lot in our terminology when we're explaining the sport to the other kids, and a lot of them pick it up pretty quickly. And yeah, the stick skills, that's definitely, the quicker you can get those, that's just like dribbling a basketball. Until you can dribble the basketball, they're not going to let you on the court pretty much. So that's kind of with stick skills, whether it's just catching and passing. Those are pretty much the basics. If you can catch and pass and scoop it off the ground, because you're going to drop a lot. And that's just, like I say, when the competitiveness of it, the ball ends up on the ground quite often just through the playing of the game. So yeah, a lot of skills that need to be built from the ground up for most of these kids. So like I say, I give these guys a lot of credit for coming out for this sport and giving it a first time opportunity for sure.
Yeah, and we talked before we went on recorded here that we both are former Lewistown Panthers.
Yeah, sure.
And we had talked about like the idea of like, man, if it was still Lewistown Indian Valley and they brought lacrosse, man, I might have given it a shot. Does it sound like to me, would you have given it a shot?
Oh yeah, I hope I would. In hindsight, I hope you never know. But the moment I've seen it and played it, and I've talked to several parents that have been out of school and now they're watching their sons play, and they say the same thing. Whereas they really would have liked to have given it a try for sure back in the high school days. And I think it would have been great with Lewistown and Indian Valley, because you would have a quite the built-in rivalry there, which is that builds the systems, I think, is having those kind of built-in rivalries as well. But we have a large pool of kids in this area, so that's also a great thing as well. So I can't argue that. But yeah, it's been going pretty well there.
That would be fun to see that with all the Indian Valley, with all the basketball, wrestling, football, and baseball going on.
That'd be cool. Another added, like I say, very physical sport, fun to watch. I mean, I think it would have been exciting there for sure.
So yeah, absolutely. And going back to your time before you became the head coach, what was your first experience being an assistant and getting to see an entire season of lacrosse for you?
Well, my first rule, I guess, was I was the defensive coach. They said, hey, here's the defensive guys. And back in those days, I mean, we had maybe 13, 15 guys. So I was dealing with 4 or 5 guys, and the other coaches were dealing with a couple of the other guys. And I really enjoyed learning the defense, and the defensive guys really have to kind of team up themselves, because it is defense versus offense, much like football and basketball in a sense, where you're not, well, at least in football, where the defensive guys do not usually play a lot of offense, and vice versa. The offensive guys don't play a lot of defense. but there are the midfield position where they do play both. But I really enjoyed being with the defenders, and it really helps you understand. I think that's a great entry level position in lacrosse, is figuring out how to do a little bit of defense, because that requires you to learn some offense as well, just to know what you're doing defensively. But that position lacrosse is about usually positional defense and being at the right place at the right time, and a lot of communication. So those are fun skills to teach, and you can see the kids learning them pretty quickly. So that's always fun to see them learning from what you're showing.
And so, how excited were you to have the opportunity to become the head coach?
Well, I was excited, but I was also very nervous, I'd say. I was still getting nervous, even game days and all that kind of stuff. But I'm getting a little more comfortable with being in that position, and yeah, I felt the program needs to continue, and if they're willing to let me head it up for a while, sure, I was definitely game to do that, and I'm glad that they allowed me to do that, for sure.
Yeah, and what was your first season like? It was what's the biggest thing that in your mind that you felt like you've learned since becoming the head coach?
Well, that's a difficult question. The first season, like I say, I think 2 years ago that I was the head coach, and we didn't win a lot of games, but the kids, just seeing the kids keep getting better is like, all right, that's what we're looking for. And we don't have many guys that start the team that leave the team, as far as that goes. So we're retaining players year to year, which is a good sign of the program, I hope. And the kids aren't going anywhere for the most part. And I just get excited at the opportunity to learn more. Essentially, anytime we get to play another team, I get to learn more about how they're doing things, and maybe ways to improve on our program as well. So that's probably the best part about is about being able to improve our program, and I'm able to do that easily because we just have such a low bar for that. To be perfectly honest, improvements should be expected at this point.
Yeah, and to be fair though, it's not like many kids get to know about the sport, and I think it's important that you continue to grow, because I think that's a sure sign of improving the program, like you said. So I think that's really cool that if the kids are still like enjoying it and they feel like they're learning something, that's a good sign that you can keep it going.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to even a couple more years down the road when we've had, like I say, since it's such a new sport, we don't really have parents in the area that can help coach and do that. Whereas kids are now starting to come back from college that have played the sport, and so maybe we can start getting some more youth programs, or even just more assistant coaches on the team that have played a little bit and are familiar with the sport there. And that just takes more people coming out of the program to be able to come back into it as they get a little older. And I think the next couple of years we'll see those types of things happening, and I'm looking forward to that. And that will really be a benefit, I think, to the team and to our area as far as spreading the game around a little bit.
No, I 100% agree on that, because like you said, it's a new sport. Not many people know about it, or maybe some kids are hesitant to do it. So what is the process like for you trying to recruit kids to give it a shot?
Well, we do in the summer times here. We do a summer intramural program, and we've done that a summer. It's either been an intramural or even a clinic. At some points, we've just had a few days. Some of the summers that we've had some kids out, and those are really good for just touching base with some kids that may be interested. And then as we start up our open practices during the season, that they can come and attend, and they come and they get a little more acclimated with the sport. And yeah, that's basically it. Is our off season, hey, it's just like we put out a call. Hey, if you want to come out and try it, come on out and try it. We are limited by age because of just equipment and stuff like that. Our equipment is essentially geared towards high school sized kids. So where maybe we'd like to start teaching 5 or 6, 7-year-old, or not 7, yeah, even 7-year-old kids, but 5, 6, 7th grade kids, we just don't have the equipment for that, because at this point it is budgetary, and personnel wise. So even if we wanted to start a new youth league, it would take a decent amount of personnel and a decent amount of cash to get that started, as with anything. But so those are the hurdles for getting the kids started and even in middle school there. But we're, like I say, through these intramurals and clinics, and inviting them to our open fields and stuff like that, is that's the way we're kind of promoting the sport. We're trying to think of ways, and hopefully things like this interview and different stuff, to promote the sport, and just to let people know, hey, it's happening out here. And I do feel like that once a kid comes and checks out the sport, they're going to be like, all right, they're going to have an opinion one way or the other pretty quickly that this is something that they're definitely not into or something they're definitely going to be into. So we look forward to getting eyes on the sport. I think that's the best. That's the best recruiting tool we have, I think.
No, absolutely. And another thing I could also mention too, when it comes to trying to help, get the youth involved, is with in football they have this thing called flag football where no one gets a little contact. So maybe if you like, maybe you can just show the young kids like
Yeah.
certain aspects of it without really having any contact.
Well, they do and that's been something we've been discussing. And they do a gym program at the Mifflin County Middle School. They have lacrosse as a part of their gym class. So that's an aspect that we were looking to maybe utilize to recruit and maybe get involved with a little bit more. Now that's a little, we're not teachers per se, but I'm not sure if they would invite us in there. But that was kind of some of the ideas that we've had as far as not just the ball itself is just it's a pretty heavy rubber ball, and just getting hit with it in the face is enough to have, enough to give you quite a bit of damage. So even at the youth level, I feel like you'd still have to have helmets and gloves, uh, just to survive it. Really, that's the unfortunate part about that. There's opportunities to use tennis balls and different stuff like that. And when we do some of our younger programs and younger clinics, we have used tennis balls in the past just because of that. We didn't have helmets for everybody, so we can get them a stick, but even swinging a stick, you take a shot or you're trying to defend something, it's very easy to get hit in the finger and then boom, you have a broken finger. It's pretty happens pretty quickly without gloves on. But those are some of the hurdles we do have for sure.
No, that makes sense because I like to watch some of these professional like lacrosse teams in colleges, and holy moly, someone took a shot at the net and they had it on a speed and it went 123 miles an hour.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
some pretty. It's a pretty. They got some pretty fast guys there. We have a couple guys that are throwing at 90 some miles an hour. So even that, you don't even want to accidentally get hit by those balls far away, even let alone now. Young kids probably aren't whipping it like that as well, but some of these kids, they can whip it 50, 60 miles an hour, and they're only in 7th and 8th grade, our intramural kids. So that's like I say, that's what kind of the equipment gets required there at that point.
no, absolutely. And I kind of want to talk about the influence of one Penn State University. Their men's lacrosse team made it to the national championship. Has that ever been in your mind, maybe a way to recruit kids, be like, hey, look what happened. This is like 30 minutes away from us.
Well, yes and no, in that we've taken we've taken our players to games. We always advertise the games when we see them coming up, on our Sports U, and let our players know. And we've had some group outings over there, so it's definitely a place. I mean, you can't get a much higher class of lacrosse to be 30 minutes away than Penn State. So it's a great opportunity to not so much recruiting, I guess, as far as that goes, but definitely solidifying what the sport can be if we keep our noses to the grindstone and that kind of stuff. Because that is some great lacrosse over there. And Coach Britzik, he works over there as an EMT, and Coach McCarter and myself go over and we enjoy many games over there throughout the season. It's a great venue and a great exciting teams to watch over there for sure. And even the Panzer Stadium, they've hosted some state championships and some other games like that, which were great and a great opportunity to go over and check out. That we don't have to go very far away for that kind of stuff. So I do believe that's going to continue to be an influence in our area, and will definitely help recruiting over time here for sure. And it's just, even if you're not a big lacrosse fan, to get over there and check those games out is super exciting for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And has there been, excuse me, has there been any talks of like maybe seeing if any of the Penn State guys would come down and like any of the camps?
We've talked about it, but we just haven't had that opportunity, I guess, yet. I've actually talked, like I said, my son played lacrosse. He's actually playing up in Juniata College now. He was a freshman last year. He'll be a sophomore this year. But along those same lines, we were thinking about having some of those guys come down as well, just because I actually know those guys a little bit, and to have them maybe help out and step into some of these camps or clinics as well. But I think as we get more organized and better prepared for those types of things, those are definitely opportunities that we're going to pursue for sure. But especially being so close, having two colleges within a half hour, 45 minutes from town is a great opportunity.
Yeah, and also not to mention, you kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but you're heading into your third season as head coach this coming spring. What's the biggest difference you've seen with your program since you started to where it is now?
I think the biggest, like I say, with just changing fields is a big difference. Uh, I would say that us coaching staff is changing, is better as far as we're learning more. The more we learn, the more we can teach the kids, and we just learn more each year. So those opportunities keep presenting themselves as well. Which we're checking out YouTube, we're checking out lacrosse pages, and we have different avenues to get new information and just drills and all that type of stuff. Like I say, we're kind of learning on the fly here, and even though you'd think this would be my 6th year in, but so much more to learn, and and those are the opportunities we're just trying to take there when we can get them in, for sure.
Yeah, and without question, you never stop learning in anything really in life. But
Yeah, if you're doing it right, that's for sure.
yeah, and one of the things, I guess we could talk about this for a little bit. The difference between obviously the fields has been like the turf and the normal glass fields. Like, explain to some people that may not understand lacrosse, like, how do you think the players move compared to the two fields?
The turf field is definitely, it's just a more pleasant place to play. It's more consistent, the ground being consistent, because I had mentioned earlier maybe about ground balls, which the ball ends up on the ground a lot. All right, and that's a good thing if you're on the defense. You want to get that ball on the ground and scoop it up and get out of there. So working on a turf field is way more consistency with scooping up ground balls and different things like that, and just running. Just the field being level is a nice opportunity. The kids actually, I think they have a little more, I don't know, maybe not passion, but respect for the game that they're playing when they're playing it on a field like that, or at a stadium like we have now. I mean, they just feel a little more responsible for the sport. And those are the kind of things we kind of ask the kids to do, because it is a building program, and we don't let the kids know, we don't let them miss that this is a building program, and we're trying to, it's not just about them per se, it's about, if they look program wise, we're trying to build something for the future here and continue growth with it. And I think when we move up fields, they can take themselves a little more serious, and then they take the sport a little more serious. And so that's all been a really positive impact, I think, on the game, for sure.
Yeah, and I've heard that story a lot from other coaches from other sports as well, sir. Is
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure. Yep. Great venues we have here for now, for these days, for sure.
yeah, and like I totally see the difference, because like covering soccer or even field hockey, that ball doesn't always stay. So I definitely see a world of difference of being able to pass the ball more efficiency. That's for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, like in lacrosse, you have bounce shots. I mean, so those are kind of things that you need a consistency to have, and it may have actually benefited our opponents in more cases than us last season, because that's our first season of playing and practicing on turf, whereas they've been doing that for potentially for years, so we're kind of got even catching up there. Sometimes even in the grass, we could hear the other teams mumbling about, oh boy, having to play in on those fields, depending on the weather and stuff. Sometimes the fields are not in great condition, just because we live in a very rainy area here at times. So these fields, I think, are very welcomed, and we're learning to take advantage of them as best we can, and I think that'll continue to improve as well.
Yeah, and speaking of improvement, you've mentioned it earlier. You have a little summer program going on. How long have you been doing that now, Coach?
Well, we do, like I say, Coach McCarter and Coach Everly started clinics back in 6 years ago, just as a recruitment option there. And then the last 2 years, we've done an intramural program. And like I say, we usually have 6, 7, 8 kids in there, which is, hey, if we have 2 or 3 showing up, I'm always happy. That's just more kids that are getting interested in there. But yeah, 6, 7 kids showing up, 8 kids signed up, and hey, we'll take it. I'd like it to be 15, 20 one of these days, but that will be in time, I think, and as things grow. So we're taking it easy in that regard. But the kids that come and try out or come to an intramural, I always give them a little, I'm asking like, hey, are you having a good, because a lot of it is instructional. It's not like, hey, let's go play lacrosse. Like if you went to a basketball camp tomorrow, and I don't know this maybe, but everybody could essentially play some basketball. It's, you catch the ball, you throw it at the hoop. It's a lot harder than that, but lacrosse, you have to be able to catch the ball in the stick and then throw it into the bat, so you have to be able to learn to catch the stick, keep the ball in the stick while you're moving around. So there's a little bit of a hurdle there for the kids to just come out and be able to play right out the gate. But we try to get them into that as quick as possible. And we do a lot of situational stuff, whereas we keep them, that way they can do a little more one-on-one, 2v2s, that kind of stuff, and get some play in, even if it's not a full lacrosse game per se.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. And hopefully it continues to grow. Like, when do you guys normally start it during the summer?
Well, our intramurals are good. We're in June, July, August. We were twice a week all summer here. I don't know, if like I say, we advertise on Facebook and that kind of stuff, and through the school a little bit, but some of that may be on me as far as getting some more eyes on those opportunities for kids to get involved as well. But that's another of those things I'm learning as well. Like we did like like this year they got canceled, but last year we do like Kid Connection. So we would go there and set up a goal and just have kids just launching balls at the goal. We have a radar that we like to use as like a speedometer essentially, and gets the kids speed and that kind of stuff. So those are the opportunities we're looking forward to in the off season, to get younger kids or just getting families more involved with the sport, or just getting an eye on it. Like I say, baseball is probably our biggest hurdle. It's such a great sport in our area, and that's a tough one to have kids go away from to try something new when baseball is having such a great success. Our baseball in our area has just been, you can't say enough about it, how well they're doing. Even right now, I'm sure they're out in, I think, Missouri right now, some of these teams, and just doing great. So while those are hurdles for us, that's great for our community, but that's kind of the hurdles that there's another really big sport in our area in the springtime that's very competitive with us for sure. So, but we'll keep working with those guys. And like I say, they can only have so many guys on their team. So we let them know, hey, if you got some guys that maybe aren't making the cut, or maybe they want to try out for lacrosse as well, then send them on over. And so we've gotten a few guys that way as well.
Dude, that's awesome. And you also talked about you got to play with your son in an adult league as well this summer, I believe, right?
Yes. ULAX is what I think that's like a brand name. Like they had probably like a system up in other cities and other areas as well. This was out of Palmyra up near Harrisburg, but yeah, it's like a men's league essentially. And it was a great opportunity for one to play with my son. That's an opportunity I'm sure any parent would like to do, to be able to play on the same team as them in any sport. That was a fun opportunity. But just me personally being able, I've never played, like say, I've up until 6 years ago, I really never even really heard of lacrosse in a sense, so getting the opportunity to play and get out on the field a little bit was definitely helpful. And I really wanted to get out there to just kind of get some of these feels that I often tell the kids about, situations that I've never personally been in. Most of my assessments have been pretty correct, but I can definitely have learned the stress of being chased by people with sticks and them swinging them at you as hard as they can, and the stress that can build on you. And I made so many mistakes in this thing. I got hammered to the ground. I threw bad passes. I dropped balls. All the mistakes that the kids would normally make, I made them all as well. So it's nothing I can't say. I can't say, hey, I'm perfect and that they shouldn't make mistakes. I just know that's the case. I often tell the kids, you're going to drop the ball like 1,000 times. So let's learn how to pick it up and keep moving. Lacrosse is about having short memory, because it can be a high scoring affair. It could be 20 some points in some of these games, if not more. So you have to be able to knock that, forget about the last goal and go to the next one. And those are things, when I got to play up there, that I learned a little bit better, was just, the conditioning aspect and how quick you can be tired up there, and how that has an effect on the game and different things like that. So I feel like I was able to gain some perspectives for sure from playing in that, not to mention just having a great time. Like I say, I really have fallen in love with the sport. So just being able to play it was a fun opportunity as well.
What position did you play?
Well, I played as a defensive long pole, but I ended up playing defense. I played LSM, which is a long stick midfielder. I played a regular midfielder. I played a little bit of attack for a few runs as well. So I got to do a little bit of everything. As far as I didn't get any goalie action, which is fine by me. That's a big position to play. But yeah, I played pretty much anywhere they'd let me play. Like I say, this was a free agent team. Like a bunch of guys just signed up, and then they said, all right, you guys are all on a team. And then we were playing other teams that had been maybe playing around for a few years together and different stuff like that. But we had a great time. We had a really great time. I enjoyed it very much.
Sweet. And what is your main goal and hope for the future of the program?
Just to build the program. I mean, winning's great. Losing, is a teachable moment, so as long as we keep having a lot of opportunities to get better and to grow the sport. Mifflin County is an athletic county. This is a county that I feel like if we had lacrosse 15, 20 years ago, we would be one of these teams in the mid-pen that are, people are dreading having to come visit and having them visit them. So I think over time, the athleticism from Mifflin County will continue to keep leaking into lacrosse, and we will continue to grow and be a more formidable sport against some of these better teams. But yeah, like I say, the athleticism and the grit of the kids that come out is always commendable. I always appreciate them coming out and trying this sport, especially knowing how hard it is and how difficult it is to get your start in it. So testament to any kids that are playing lacrosse for sure.
Yeah, and also to anyone out there, that's on the fence, what do you have to say for those that are on the fence and want to come or not sure about?
I would say come give it a try. It's a great opportunity to have a lot of fun. If you like to get out there and mix it up, you're only going to get better from day one. I've seen kids from one practice to the next. It's very easy to keep improving, and that's all. And that's what I would suggest is come out and give it a try. And like I say, the improvement at the player to player, some guys have come out and have picked it up really quickly. Even those guys still have to put in some time, and even when they're not at practice, just to get better at catching the ball. I mean, catching and throwing that ball is a real difficult hurdle to start with there. But once you have that down, then you have a sense of relief, and you can have, when you don't have to catch the ball and look into it and make sure it's in your stick, then you're going to start going places a little bit. So, yeah.
No, man, and if anyone that's on the fence, please come out and give it a shot. It's a fun sport,
Yeah.
and who knows?
I would say like this off season. So we don't play till spring. So we'll have many indoor open gyms and outdoor open field practices throughout the season. And these are great opportunities to come out and just give it a try. And, maybe you come out one time and maybe you're like, all right, this isn't for me. I've had kids come out and it just wasn't for them. Or I think some of them can sense, all right, this is going to take a little bit of time. And maybe they don't have that time, maybe it's not about what they're capable of. It's just, it does take a little bit of time to get better at it. So I think coming out and giving it a test run, and I think taking the couple shots in the goal is it's just one of those things where it's like similar to baseball. Hitting a baseball is a fun thing to do. That's the excitement of it. Well, the same thing is with taking shots with the ball into the goal. It's a nice little activity for sure. It gets people fired up, and then you get to play a little defense. Some guys would come out and play defensive minded guys, which are for shutting that down. I like to say it's real. I've said too, it's similar to basketball, except we can foul and we can goaltend, and we have a goalie in there. But otherwise, you're getting in guys' faces. You're trying to limit. It's not about limiting the scoring. Everybody's going to score some for the most part, but you just want to limit those opportunities. And so those are the kind of things that if you have those mindsets, yes, definitely come out and give it a try for sure.
Yeah, and then with that being said, thank you so much for coming on my show today, Coach.
Yeah, hey, no problem. I appreciate the opportunity, like I say, to get the sport out there as much as possible. Like I say, I think our county is we're ripe for it. We just haven't had the introduction to it well enough yet. And we're easing into that as we go. And I think it will continue to just get better and better and better. We started last year. Last year, we ended up with 4 wins. We'll take it because the year before we had 1 win. So if we can continue that type of growth, we're going to be sitting okay, until we get a youth program. Like I say, youth program, that's going to be what really makes us take off. But just our general athletics in our county and the kids coming out with a good attitude definitely helps build the program as well. So we're going to continue doing that. And I will say one other thing in regard as far as youth players, we do have like a manager program, we call it, which essentially is if you're in 7th, 8th grade, and we don't have a youth program, but we take managers in. So we have maybe had 4 or 5 managers last year, and they will just and they've played some lacrosse with us. They do some of the things. So when they start as a freshman, they're not brand new. They have played, they can catch and pass. So those are the kind of things we're using to kind of cheat the system a little bit as far as getting some younger kids involved earlier than they might normally be, just through being managers on the team. And we welcome that kind of opportunity as well.
Hey, that works. It's kids got to learn somehow, right?
That's for sure.
But once again, thank you so much for coming on my show today, Coach.
Yeah, Josh. Hey, have a great day. I appreciate this. And yeah, give us a holler during the season. We'll let you know how it goes.
No, amen to that. And to all of you watching, I love you all, and God bless. Be safe, everybody.